Hello, everyone. I'm Dawn Shannon with Jovi Strategies, and this is Wisdom Wednesday. Can you believe it is the first Wednesday in May? The year is just flying by. Before you know it, summer will be here. Kids will be out of school, vacations are on the horizon. The fun is definitely going to begin soon. It's just around the corner. But before the fun begins, do you have a plan? What will your kids be doing this summer? Do you already know? I remember when my son was younger and summer was around the corner, and if I wasn't prepared, I started to panic because he wanted to go to summer camps. And if I didn't get him, registered for those in time, they filled up super fast, didn't they? And if I didn't get him into the summer camps, he would be really disappointed, and not to mention bored with nothing to do over the summer. Has this ever happened to you? If it has, then you know what I'm talking about, right? You kick yourself because you weren't prepared and didn't get things done ahead of time so that your kids could go and have a good time over the summer. What happens when kids get bored? They come to you for things to do. Mom, I'm bored. I want something to do. And when that happens, they tap into your time to get your stuff done, especially when you're a business owner working from home. It really can be distracting to have your children there, even though we love them. They are a distraction when they're bored and don't have anything to do. Planning ahead definitely made our summers easier, right? Even though it may not be fun to plan ahead, it's definitely necessary. So, what did planning ahead mean? Well, for me, it meant doing the research to find out when the camps would be held, find out how much they would cost, getting the application turned in early or on time, following up to make sure the application and the deposit was received. Then we had to make sure we had everything we needed to get him to the camp, right? Did he need any special clothing or any special sports gear if it was a sports camp? Who would drop him off at camp? Who would pick him up? Did he need to bring a sack lunch? What were all the things that we needed to be prepared for to get him to the summer camp? There was lots of planning for that. Not to mention making sure that we just had enough money to pay for the camps. That is just one example of a personal example of planning for summer for your kids. But it's the same for your business, right? What are some things coming up over the next 3 months in your business that you haven't even prepared for? Maybe there are things you haven't even thought of, or things that you've been putting off for the past 4 months, or maybe the past 6 months, or maybe the past year. What goals have you set out to accomplish this year that are still on the back burner? Why have they been pushed aside? Maybe fear, maybe doubt, overwhelm, procrastination. You know what those are, my friend? Those are dream killers, but not this year. Let's look at your goals that you've set for yourself this year. Do any of them have deadlines? Deadlines is what I want to talk about today. What I mean is, do you have a date on the calendar that is the drop dead date that that goal must be achieved? If you do, great. It's on your calendar. But what about the action it takes to get to that goal, to get to that achievement? Have you set up reminders and action items that need to take place to get you to that goal? Maybe those aren't on your calendar. Okay? Those reminders need to be on your calendar. The action items that you need to take each and every day should be on your calendar. All right? And they need to have a date-driven deadline. So one example might be you want to write a book by the end of the year. Great. You have a deadline for that. December 31st is the end of the year. Okay? Now what? How about a plan for getting that done? Some things that you can consider around that deadline of getting your book written at the end of the year. What is the most creative time of day for you? Is it mornings when the sun is coming up and the birds are chirping? Is it the afternoon? Maybe you're better in the light of day when the sun is at high noon and you're so productive during that afternoon period. Maybe you're a night owl and your productivity levels increase in the evening. Know what is your most creative time of the day and work around that. Where do you work best? Do you work best from home or the office? Maybe it's outdoors at a park. What works best for you? What type of environment do you need to be most productive? Maybe it's a quiet setting where everything's very calm. You can put on some light music in the background and go to work writing your book. Or maybe the hustle and bustle of a public space really gets your creative juices flowing, and that works better for you. How much time can you set aside to write? And does writing every day work for you? Or maybe just 1 or 2 days a week would be better. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know, and you just need to try it out. But always keep your deadline in mind. If you are committed to getting your book written by the end of the year, how many weeks do you have left in the year? Okay, think about that. There is a deadline, a date on the calendar that you want to get this done. So how many weeks is that are left? Now, how many hours in each week do you have to spend writing in order to get that goal accomplished? How many words or pages or chapters do you want your book to be? Have you even thought that out? And if you spend 10 hours each week, how many words or pages or chapters can you get written? Do you see how there are so many things to consider towards accomplishing just that one goal? So now add 2 or 3 or 15 goals on top of that one. It can be overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff that we have to get done as business owners and entrepreneurs. And when it becomes overwhelming, that's when we fall into our old habits of procrastination or even just giving up altogether on certain things that are something that you really want to get done, but you haven't given it a deadline and you haven't prioritized it. And so it just gets forgotten or pushed on the shelf for another day, another week, another month, another year. When you decide to be 100% committed to your dreams and your goals, you do things differently. You decide to replace procrastination with small, consistent action every day. And when you break it down into small, doable action steps that are needed to accomplish your goal, it really doesn't seem so overwhelming. So let's go back to writing that book. You have that goal to get it done by the end of the year. Look at your schedule and decide to set aside a certain block of time every day to commit to writing that book. So if you've committed to yourself to write for 1 hour every day, let's start at the same time every day and do that for 1 week and see how successful you are. If there's resistance or if that time of day didn't work for you or you just kept putting off and didn't show up at that time, make a slight tweak. And the next week, maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays were your best days. You really felt good on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You showed up at that time. You wrote for an hour. You were committed. Tweak it. Make next week Tuesdays and Thursdays at the same time for 1 hour and see how that works. It is about commitment, but it's also about having a little bit of flexibility. But once you find what works for you, get that on the calendar, same day, same time, show up, make it happen. The key here is to start. Then it's to stay committed, right? And taking action every day. Get it on the calendar and honor that appointment as if you were given that deadline by someone else you respect. Wait a minute. Let me say that again. Honor that appointment as if you were given that deadline from someone you respect. If someone were paying you to write that book by a certain deadline, they would expect it to get done by that deadline, right? They're paying you. They expect results. And because you're a person of integrity, you do everything in your power to get it done, right? You respect that person's time and the money that they're paying you to get that project done. So why is it when we want to do something for ourselves, we tend to not respect ourselves in the same way? It is time for that to stop. We are business owners. We have goals and dreams and deadlines. They just may not be top of mind, and we're not respecting ourselves to honor that deadline, to honor those appointments. You are worthy of accomplishing the dreams and goals that you have set for yourself. Now is the time. Take action. My saying is, a plan without action is a dream deferred. How many of your dreams have you deferred due to overwhelm, fear, or procrastination? Honor yourself by having date-driven deadlines. Treat them as if you were getting paid to do them, because you are. Thanks for checking out this segment of Wisdom Wednesday. I'm Dawn Shannon with Joby Strategies. And remember, keep taking those small actions every day, because small actions lead to achieving your big dreams. See you next week.